Welcome to the Castle Peak Yurt. When you arrive at the Castle Peak Yurt, you'll notice on the main dining table there is a yurt manual that has all of the steps that we're going to go over in this video. The first thing you'll want to do before you get to the yurt is make sure that you've saved your passcode that comes with your reservation. You're going to plug your passcode in here. Once you get into the yurt, the first thing you're going to want to do is flip the toggle 90 degrees to the right. That will allow the yurt door to stay unlocked for the duration of the time that you're up here. When you leave the yurt to go for a full day ski tour or full day adventure, we do ask that you flip the toggle back. Don't forget to remember that passcode so you can get in when you return. During the winter months, you might come into the yurt and our insulation is already left open for you. So when you get here, you'll want to open up the windows, and we just do that by unzipping the exterior wall, rolling it up, and then finding the clips and just clipping the window up. Months, we have the option of opening the clear plastic part of the window and leaving a nice bug net. The way we do that is we unclip what we just used for the exterior wall. We take the male piece and feed it down through the upper Velcro, and then take both the clear plastic and the outside shell and roll it up together. And then clip all of this. Like so. When you get to the Castle Peak Yurt, the propane tank is located to the west side of the yurt. You'll notice there are two propane tanks. In the winter months, the snow, you might be digging down to these propane tanks. This cover kind of marks which propane tank we're using. If the cover for some reason isn't on there, you'll notice the propane tank that we're using is the one that has the propane line leaving it. To turn on the propane, you're going to turn the propane tank knob counterclockwise all the way to the open position. When leaving the yurt, you're going to want to make sure you turn off the exterior propane. We're going to do that by turning it clockwise all the way until the nozzle is snug, and then placing the marker back on top. We have a 3-burner stove that's run by our external propane tank. To turn this stove on, it's very much like your stove at home. You're going to turn it on, listen for the gas to empty in, and then let the igniter light the stove. Sometimes it can take a couple tries, especially in the colder winter months. At our yurts, we use a 3-bin dish system for washing all of our plates. These 3 collapsible bins have been provided for you. And you'll notice there is a bin that has all our cleaning supplies. Bin 1 is for your suds. Bin 2 is for your clear water. And bin 3, we're actually going to take a cap full of bleach and mix it with fresh cold water. And that's our finisher to make sure that we're leaving each of our dishes completely bacteria free. Once you've washed your dishes, you then have 2 drying racks that are provided for you. We highly encourage you to bring dish towels, as that can be really helpful for either lining the under part of the drying rack, and or if you're departing, to hand dry each one of your dishes and return them to their proper place on the shelf. The wood stove at the Castle Peak Yurt is the centerpiece. We like to take really good care of it. If we open the stove, we lift the right-handed lever to the 90-degree position and then open it, and both doors can open freely. We can see how nice and clean that stove is from the previous users. This is how we like to leave the yurt. To help the stove draw during the cold months, we start by building whatever fire structure we like, whether that's log cabin or teepee, whatever your preference is. And then the real trick is to take a little bit of paper and shove it up into the back upper side of the stove. We then will light that piece of paper to heat up the flue and help it draft right off the get-go, so that when we light our whatever that structure is, or draw properly. Once we have our fire lit, we always keep the doors closed to this stove for two reasons. One is it allows the heat to actually be captured and then dispersed by radiation. And two is it helps protect the faceplates of this stove so we don't end up having it all this nickel come off. In order to regulate airflow, we use these dampers. Dampers can spin. They do sometimes, you can open them and they'll spin all the way off. That's okay. Just make sure when you put them back on, they're threaded properly. And when we close the dampers all the way, we're just looking for it to stop, not a snug fit, because if it heats up and you've gone too hard, it's really hard to get those undone. So, yep. One of the things we love about this stove is that it also has an oven section on top. The oven works just like your oven at home. We provide baking sheets for you here at the yurt. There's also tin foil here. The temperature gauge will tell you roughly what temperature you can expect the stove to be. We found that right between 200 and 300 degrees is kind of the prime baking in this oven. Please keep in mind that this is a backcountry stove, so do use the tin foil and the provided baking sheets to protect the oven when you're cooking in there. Here we have our temperature gauge. Please do not heat the stove beyond the best operating section, so do not let that go above 460 degrees. This fan is powered by the stove heating up and the cooler external temperature, so it just helps in radiating the heat through the structure. We provide 2 large pots for snow collection so that you can bring the snow in and melt your drinking water. We have clearly marked areas for snow melt collection. Please use those areas marked with bamboo and rope so that we can be sure that your drinking water or your snow melt is not contaminated. All of our yurts are equipped with a water cooler. Once we've melted our snow, we're then going to take the water and pour it into the water cooler using the provided fine strainer to sieve out any of the tree debris or natural debris that can collect in our snow melted water. Close the lid and let it rip. At the Castle Peak Yurt, we have these pretty sweet bunk beds. Top bunk, self-explanatory, single bed. There is a really nice tray that is removable that can be rearranged on all parts of the bed frame. Feel free to do so. To pull out these beds, you're going to lift the bottom and you'll notice that it comes out in a taco shape. In order to get the bed to lay flat, envision that the bed frame is seated together like so, and we need to pull the frame apart, which then allows it to lay flat. I like to put my foot on the bottom bar to brace, pull this tray, and I hear a pop, and then I can lay it flat. Now we have a lovely full-size bed for maxing and relaxing. The power station charges off of 4 solar panels that are located on the south side of the entry roof. It does get enough recharge that you shouldn't have to worry about conserving power while here, but there are some things we like to do that are just best practices when we're dealing with this power station. Each one of these green squares represents blocked circuits. So if I want to plug in an AC, in order to get power moving to that blocked circuit, I have to hit that AC button. The light will indicate that that area is on, and I'm getting power to that AC. When we're not using AC in particular, it's really good for the battery to keep this section turned off. Running the AC actually depletes the battery whether anything's plugged in or not. Same can be said for the USB zone. So this is great for charging phones, handheld cameras, whatever little devices you might have. And then finally, the 12 volt, what's plugged in right now, controls the lights in the yurt. The lights are all Goal Zero T lights, and we can actually control what lights stay on. Maybe some folks in the yurt are trying to go to sleep, so if we pull half the circuits out, then we have light in specific areas of the yurt. If you want them all on, that's how we do it. And when it's time to go to bed, hit the 12 volt circuit and they all go off. Castle Peak Yurt also has plenty of games for those down days. Provided you with this sweet Marshall Bluetooth speaker. To pair the Bluetooth speaker, you're just going to hit this button on the top, and you'll see that it says Tufton. That is the Bluetooth you'll want to connect to your phone. There is an on-off dial, battery indicator. If the battery level seems low or isn't responding when you turn it on, or maybe the group before you left it on, go ahead, switch that off. You'll find a power cord that is either pre-plugged in or it will be just hanging out on the shelf here. Go ahead and plug that in. AC plug, it's going to be right on line with the shelf. Plug that into the AC port, turn the AC on, and that will charge this. You can run it directly plugged in without waiting for it to fully charge, or if you want, you can let it charge up and take the speaker outside, just always being mindful that the speaker ends up back in before you leave. The yurt is really well stocked. We have all the things you need for stovetop cooking, as well as your baking items up top. Up top, we have your baking sheets and all the lids you need to cook until your heart's content. On this shelf, we also have 2 French presses, coffee mugs, as well as wine cups, bowls, small salad plates, as well as large dinner plates. All of our cutting boards and knives. Inside our drawers, we have 12 sets of forks, knives, spoons. In our lower drawer, we have more of what you'd expect to find in any home kitchen. All of our yurts are equipped with a opening dome. So you'll find the dome opener in each of the yurts. Adjust the dome opener. Take the hook end and fish out, and then rotate counterclockwise to open the dome. And you can open the dome as much or as little as you'd like, but do not go past the natural stop point. We recommend opening the dome when you're cooking, no matter winter or summer. This helps the fumes from whatever you're cooking escape through the roof. It also aids in condensation buildup during the winter months. Do not forget to close that dome before you go to sleep and before you leave the yurt, whether for 5 minutes or 5 hours. Welcome to the Castle Peak Yurt sauna. The barrel sauna is a really special attribute of the Castle Peak Yurt in specific. When you first come to the sauna at the Castle Peak Yurt, you'll notice it is padlock closed. You're going to use your enclosed code to open the padlock. You're going to unlock the lock, open the lever, flip it over, and then I like to close that just as a courtesy to my friends so they get that I'm not going to mess around with them. And inside the barrel sauna, you'll notice there are sauna rocks and our little stove. There will be wood provided for you that fits this stove that's chopped and stacked Once you've built your fire in the sauna stove, you can close the door. The natural draft up the pipe will help aid in enough ventilation coming through. It takes about 45 minutes in the winter months to get the sauna up to about 102 degrees. The sauna also is provided with a sand timer. We do not recommend you stay in beyond the 15 minutes that the timer gives you. Finally, the sauna also has some ventilation in case you've gotten it a little too hot. The sauna is equipped with a plastic liner and a wood classic sauna bucket. The plastic liner goes inside the bucket. You can grab snow from outside the sauna, or in the summer months, pour some water in here. And then you have a wooden ladle, and you can take your snow or your water, scoop it, and pour it on the rocks. This creates a lot of steam and it increases the heat within the sauna. When you're done in the sauna, we ask that you take the plastic liner out, flip it upside down, take the bucket, flip it upside down, and take the spoon, put it upside down, and let it dry out in the natural heat. To exit the sauna, please be careful of banging your head. It's a short door and requires a little bit of thought. Welcome to everybody's favorite room, the room with a poo view. We use a WAG toilet system. When you come down to the outhouse, you'll find a bin. You can clip this open. And inside the bin is a dry bin that has WAG bags in them. The clean waste system is really simple to use. The first thing you're going to do is open the bag. This bag is trapped. When you open the bag, you'll then notice that there's a bag within the bag. The first bag looks rather small. Don't get nervous. This is going to be used for later, so set this aside. The next bag, much bigger. This bag is what we're going to use for the main business. When we open it up, we can see there's a little like kitty litter substance in there. That's going to help with the absorption. We take this big bag, we lift the lid, we lift the toilet seat, and we put this big bag just like so and drop the toilet seat. Making sure there's no shelves or anything that our business could get hung up on. The next two things we notice that are in this pack is a little suggestion of toilet paper. You can feel free to use it, but if it's not going to be as calming as seeing a nice roll of toilet paper that is provided for you, you can go ahead and throw that in the bag. You're going to hold on to this Sani wipe for later. After you've done your business, you're going to turn around, you'll open the toilet lid. You're then going to take your bag with your poo in it, and you're going to go ahead and get as much of the air out of this bag as possible. Tie a nice overhand knot in this bag, just like those of us who have dogs do on the trail when we clean up after our dogs. And then you're going to take this smaller Ziploc bag that made us scared in the first place. We're going to open it up, put our poo bag in here, zip up this bag. After you've sealed your poo, you're going to take it, put it in the receptacle. Then, the nicest thing to do is go ahead and grab another WAG bag and do the same thing to set up your teammates. If you don't like the friends you're camping with, at the very least, take that Sani wipe that we talked about at the beginning, wipe the seat off. This way, the next person who comes behind you knows that they have a sanitary station they're working with. Lastly, always use hand sanitizer after we go to the bathroom. Okay, at all of our yurts, we have roof rakes. At the Castle Peak Yurt in particular, because we have this nice large eaves, we have two roof rakes. One is blue, and this roof rake has less chewed gnarls on it, and this one is used for the yurt. That way the chewed gnarls don't cut the roof of the yurt. We can extend the roof rake just like we extend the dome opener. It's really important when we're getting this just to rake around the dome and let gravity do the rest. The other roof rake at the Castle Peak Yurt is black. And this one's been with us for a minute, and it has gnarled edges. So this one we use for the metal roof. So the black roof rake we use for the metal roof that covers our guide cabin and our entry portico. Castle Peak Yurt, the first thing you'll notice is this really large entryway. It's a really great place to store your skis on this wall in the winter months. You'll also notice this door. This is for our guide cabin and backstock area. This is not accessible to people who are just renting the yurt.